and that wasn't going anywhere fast. So I'm going to try to get to the point. The video I wanted to make today is not going to happen. I'm just not going to have time. It takes a lot of time to make stuff like that, especially when your skills are not there yet. And so what the video is going to be is kind of what I want to do with this. It's a really first draft of my concept of what I want to do. What I want to do is share my life or my experience through the events that's happened in my life this week, this year, this week, last year, and this week 2 years ago. And then do that pretty much every week for a year. And just see where it goes. I mean, I've had some pretty exciting times, I think. I don't know if everybody else will or not. I mean, they're not so exciting that, anybody's, like most of the stuff that it makes the stories is some extreme drama where somebody kills somebody or somebody hurts somebody or somebody gets hurt or, this. But people going through divorce, generally, it's the worst time of their life. I mean, I got a few videos that I've made over the last year on it too, and probably going to sum those up in the week that they happen, and then hopefully I kind of want to I want to help other people. That's the biggest reason I'm doing this and sharing my story, is for other people going through it that have similar experiences. We all have very different experiences based on, how our marriage was. Oh, might get a little bit more somehow. But yeah, it's like most people don't tell their story, and everybody's story is significant and it's their own. And I don't think mine's that much more exciting than anybody else's. But it starts to seem kind of exciting. This is one thing I learned this morning was, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I haven't been back to sleep, and somehow I got a few things I got to do today, and then I still want to have energy to do what I plan to do with the Q&A, my first live stream tonight. So this video is just going to be a little bit of what I came up with that's happened in the last couple years, very short abbreviated version. And then what's happened in the last week for me. In the last week, let me see if I just flip this button here. Oh, look at that. Now I'm big, and I think my finger's on it. But just the last week, 1 week ago today, I did not know that I was divorced. I have a car pulling in underneath me. And anyways, and I guess my ex-wife found out 1 week ago today that we were divorced. She didn't let me know. I found out tomorrow morning, a week ago, that I was divorced only because a friend seen it on the public record. So left a couple messages for my wife, got the decree, found out it was pretty bad for me, but not as bad as it could be, but still pretty bad. Worse than if I would have settled what she was going to do in mediation. So I was pretty disappointed and upset. I got up the next morning and made a video that I think I'm going to edit up into this, and then add some stuff around it. It's going to be like the rest of this video for what's happened just this week. There's actually a couple videos up on my channel that I put up this week. One was from a month ago, right before I went through my divorce trial, and it was kind of the first idea. I don't even remember making that video until Monday night of this week, because yet this week, so Monday morning and this last week, I was up here going to start making a video, not even close to this, and my old high school friend showed up, and so I put that video up on YouTube. And then later that night, I found out my judge made the news for making TikTok videos. family court TikTok videos. And so I got pretty excited about that on Monday evening, which I thought the craziest thing that would have happened to me would have been my high school friend showing up out of the blue. But no, the craziest thing was finding out that my judge is doing TikTok videos. And yeah, I don't know. I probably have a lot that I can say about that, and will coming up in the future. And I'll be interested to see if he continues to make these TikTok videos. And I kind of hope that he does. I don't know if we can see the sun rising out there. Sun's peeking out through the clouds just a little bit. So it's been a crazy week just this week. I think there's plenty of content to make a video just this week and have a discussion about it. A year ago this week, my point is I should have been divorced. And I'm not, because of the inefficient, ineffective, and self-serving legal system. And it's a very difficult time to be in. I mean, and everybody's situation is going to be different. My personal situation that I'm very well aware of is I still love my ex-wife, and I don't really want to be divorced. And I've even, in the last week, we've had a handful of conversations, a little good and a little bad already this week. I talked to her last night. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of craziness. This is a very difficult. These sometimes are the most significant decisions you make in your life, and it's one of the most important things in your life. If you listen to the radio, almost every song's gonna have something to do with your primary relationship. Every once in a while you'll get something thrown in there about a job or something, but I mean, quite honestly, the biggest thing in our lives are our relationships. Some of us end up being alone, but most of us want to be married. And so a lot of what I want to do over the next year is just take a look at, our experiences and everybody else's experience. I mean, mine's going to be different than everybody else's. And I don't know, maybe, but I know a lot of divorces take even longer than mine. Just this week, after finding out our judge made TikTok videos, I was talking to somebody else that's getting divorced through our local court system. And, she's like, well, at least your divorce was quick. And I'm like, 20 months? Is that quick? Yeah, it can be. It can be. And quite honestly, I don't know. I mean, I got mixed opinions on all kinds of things. I'm going to try to keep things as positive as I can and assume they're good until I know they're bad. And my judge making the TikTok videos, he did help get this thing over with in a reasonable time frame. So he does get kudos for that. If this thing goes on for a year, yeah, I had a pretty interesting experience with him. And that'll be in a episode much, much farther in the future, so we're not going to worry about that at this time on how that goes. But, I mean, my big point is, if you watched the video I watched my short last night that, announced that I was going to do this, and watched the video connected to it. It's My Divorce Story, Episode 2, The Divorce Scam. I really want a 10-minute version of that, and that's not going to happen today. Sometime in the future, I need that to happen as one of my effective parts to try to bring some change to divorce law and what we do in this country. And so far, it's not raining, and the sun is still peeking out there. So, yeah, if you watch the rest of this video, it's gonna go over the significant times of this week, or my feelings right after I found out I got divorced. I was up here on this ladder and watched the sunrise. It's my first sunrise since knowing I was divorced, and I was pretty hurt. Without my ex-wife knowing I made that video, she did call me, and I did say some pretty crappy things about her in that video. And yeah, it's the reality of you're getting divorced, you're not going to have happy thoughts. All your thoughts aren't going to be happy about your soon-to-be ex-wife. My big problem is I still have a lot of happy thoughts from my marriage and about my ex-wife. So, and quite honestly, I don't think I should be divorced. And I mean, a little bit of this is going forward is figuring out, should I be divorced? Should other people in my situation be divorced? How many people stick out much worse situations? How many people give up easier than my wife? I gave up too. I will say that. When she was ready to give up, I wasn't ready to. I didn't want to fight to keep her because I was on the edge of being ready to give up. So, it's amazing how long it took us to give up, and I don't know if that's a testament to us. It's a testament to the legal system that wants to make sure they drag it out as long as they can so they can make more money. I know they don't want to admit that they do that, but if you watch the movie Divorce Corp, which is in my playlist on my channel, probably My Divorce Story has the Divorce Corp linked in the Divorce Corp movie. I also have a James Sexton playlist, and that's where a lot of my information comes from, him being on podcasts. It's been a while since I've watched any of his on the podcast. I think the most significant one was back in March and April when my story gets the most insane craziness of it. Because there's definitely some drama that happens that's going to make the story a little bit interesting. And I don't know. I'm sure everyone's story is interesting too. So it's just how it played out for mine. Just a little bit of what I did this morning, and I don't know how it'll edit into the video, is I don't know if I should honestly say this yet or see where it goes. But basically, maybe I'll just say it now. What I've done over the last year, not necessarily on purpose, but it just kind of developed. I guess actually the first time I started playing with using my phone as an audio recorder was early November 2023, shortly after my wife left. So I have some pretty good documentation over what's happened in the last 2 years. The first year, not as much. The last year, a lot. And it's going to be interesting how effective and interesting I can make the story. And it's more or less overwhelming. And it's one thing that I've kind of learned as I've thought about actually putting together something for what I want to do for the podcast, is like how overwhelming it's going to be. And that's where I realized that most stories that are told, there's so much boring downtime in the stories that and if all you do is pick out the exciting parts, it sounds really exciting. But the reality of these people's lives that have an exciting story told about them, there's a lot of downtime and other stuff going on in between that, you just can't share everything. Like I was just saying, just this week, there's been a lot. And then just this week, a year ago, there was a lot. And then if you spend time reviewing it, chopping it up, taking out the boring parts, making it exciting, that takes, to make a 10-minute video, you might have 10 hours in it. It just depends on how much content you want to look through. So that's why, I'm looking forward to doing the live parts of the Q&A, or, hopefully the live YouTube parts goes easy, because that, you do it live and you're done. And then boom, you got content. But man, if you want to put something together that's not live, and that's, I had the interest in doing YouTube a long time ago. I don't know if it's been 3 or 4 years ago now. I mean, but I've been experimenting it, learning it a little bit. I mean, a lot of people jump right into it. A lot of time has passed. I know I was married and thought that I would never not be married. Well, truth be told, I mean, marriage is difficult, and not every moment of every day are you always happy. So that's one key thing that I think, hopefully that a lot of that comes out in the podcast as well, is when should you give up on marriage? And why do marriages fail so often in our society today? And I think I've even said it already in this. I don't think I should be getting divorced. However, the inefficient, ineffective, and self-serving legal system has made it so that they help the person who wants to break the commitment more than they want to help the person stay committed. Now I'm getting into some little principles and stuff that I want to talk about in the Q&As and stuff like that through the podcast, and I don't know how we can fix the system, but the system needs to be fixed. I mean, everybody's situation is different. Like, my situation is I was okay getting divorced, didn't really want to. Would have loved to have stayed married. I think if my wife was financially motivated to stay married, and the legal system actually promoted the proper way or worked effectively and efficiently and fairly, it should keep both people committed. And but unfortunately, the only thing the legal system cares about is the financial resources. They don't care about anything else. And I made this clear to the judge back in March, and he changed. He changed from March to June. He changed significantly. I don't know much about him. Of course, him being my judge, I learned as much as I could about him. I had very different opinions of him in April and May of last year than I have now. I have a different opinion of him now than I had a month ago, or even 2 weeks ago when I reviewed the book, something about the 10 biggest mistakes men make when facing divorce, and it was written by a lawyer for a lawyer to scare you into buying his services, or his colleagues' services. That's pretty much what I said in that video. I mean, that's been public from the time I've made it. If you want to do a timeline, that was 2 days before my judge made his decision, and probably can look at his TikTok and see what he was doing on that day. The best thing about his TikTok is the comments, and that's sort of what's motivated me to get up here and keep doing this. A lot of people think that I should just forget about the misery of the last couple years. And hey, actually, he's even got one of his TikTok videos. So this is kind of what I want to do, and I don't have much more time to do it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm not even going to spend any more time editing today, because I'll spend a couple more minutes here. This is going to be the video that I want to make. We'll talk a little bit about a couple of his videos, and I'll try to edit them in somehow. But it's TikTok. I don't know how to use TikTok, and yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to learn that system either. I've been YouTube the whole time. Content creators, if you're in it for the money, you got to do multiple platforms and all of that. Well, I might need to be in it and money after, I'm getting divorced. I was ready to retire before I got divorced. So that tells you a little bit why I'm upset with divorce. I mean, I didn't get married till I was almost 40, and I was comfortable when I got married, and then I didn't protect my resources and didn't get a prenup, And now she's allowed to take what I had before I got married because I didn't smartly do it because I thought there was commitment in marriage. That sums up why I'm really bitter and why the system is screwing me a little more than the average person. But everybody's screw story is a little bit different, and it is what it is. I think the judge knows I'm getting screwed. I don't, but maybe not. I mean, he's bound by what his profession has somewhat dictated and what the law is. So, you know, the law states if you don't get a prenup or you don't track your assets, even if you make it clear that it's most likely true, it doesn't count. So, yeah, so be it, I guess. I don't know. Still hoping for a reasonable resolution somehow, some way. You know, I wish they. So if you look at his TikToks, I mean, I tangent way too much. I tangented from his TikTok when he said divorce should be like bankruptcy. You go and get all your emotions out in the moment, and then you're clear, your slate's wiped clean, move on with your life. You know, well, it's difficult because I'm the one that never wanted to be divorced in the first place. And, you know, the video that I decided that I'm not going to edit and put up for this because I'm not going to take the time because I can only have so much time, and this is working well in the moment. I made before I talked to my wife, ex-wife, and then we went for a virtual hike together, where she's in Maine, I'm in Ohio. She found a hiking trail, I found a hiking trail, and we chatted on the phone the entire time we hiked. And, you know, it was good. And then the next day, we got in a fight again. And then, then the next day, you know, I climbed up here and seen my best friend from high school. And then later that day, I found out about the TikTok. And then the next day was her birthday. And I promised I wasn't going to put any videos. And I took down the one that I made Saturday before I talked to her. And eventually that's going back up, though, by the way. Eventually it's going back up because it's going to be part of my divorce story because it's what I felt in the moment. Maybe it'll be a good video for next week's session or whatever. But it's, I don't know, it's just every day of my life is, and then there's a bunch of boring times in between it. Like, it's going to be boring when I go do the job that I got to do today. It's going to be boring. But, oh yeah. Then I found out Judge is making TikTok videos. He made the local news. And I really thought the biggest coincidence of the day was going to be when my best friend from high school shows up, which I don't see very often. And check out that video. It's 10 minutes. I shortened it quite a bit. And it's, I mean, if you don't know me or him or whatever, it might not be that interesting. But it was a fun little time. Didn't get too many views, but yeah, it's like, yeah, when you find out your judge is making TikTok videos. So I wouldn't be up here right now if I didn't find out he was making TikTok videos. I mean, that's, and the comments to his TikTok videos are really why I'm up here. And I hope that he's doing it for the right reasons. I've made a point the whole time of when I had him for my first hearing with him in March, because quick timeline of my divorce history. 2 years, 3 months ago, June 1st, when my wife decided to break up with me, we were having a relationship summit. What responsible people do when they're trying to figure out whether they should stay married or not. I wanted to stay married. I thought things were going good in the past couple months. I thought they were going in the right direction. Apparently she did not. So she made the decision, I'm done. I'm like, if you're done, I'm done. So the next 3 months were crazy. You know, she still lived here. We trying to get along, kind of got along a little better once we knew we were breaking up, but at the same time we didn't. Like anyone that's been in this situation, I'm probably not exactly like mine, but in some similar fashion, knows that it's a difficult time. Some days you're happy, some days you're not, and the most important thing in your life is falling apart. So, and we read the book, Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay, which is a very good book to read if you're trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. One thing that I figured out is wrong with that book. See, I probably can babble on for an hour or two, and this video is going to be pretty long if I do. But it's starting to rain, and I'm not going to want to stay up here. But if you're an ambivalent relationship ambivalence, and I mean, she talks about that in that book. I mean, I think she left one very, very, very important chapter out of that book, which if the book's really good if you're not married. But once you get married, you make a commitment. The law doesn't care about the commitment. That's my big problem with the law. It needs some changes. There needs to be something. You see, that's where I tangented away a long time ago. See, this is why this is so hard. I want to go back to that tangent real quick and then come back to where I am now. There should be a little matrix of when the law works for you and when you're in the good position and when you're in the bad position. So if you have more financial resources and you want to get divorced, the law is close to reasonable because you got to give up a lot of your financial resources to get what you want. If you have more financial resources and you don't want to get divorced and you would prefer the law help you stay committed, the law is really, really bad for you, which is for me. I preferred to stay married. I would have liked the law to help my wife remain committed. However, I have more financial resources than her, so according to law, I don't get what I want. I don't get the commitment, and I have to give up financial resources. So she's kind of in the thing. She claims she doesn't want the divorce. She claims she wants a husband that loves her. She claims she wants all this stuff, but she's not willing to help participate in making that happen. So, in my opinion, of course, because her opinion is she's tried everything she possibly can do and I'm still the asshole. So, that's typically how a lot of these relationships break up. And maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't think I am. Of course not. Most people. But that being said, I've done a lot of self-reflection and I've realized several things that I could have done better. But even when I think about that, I still don't think I deserve what I'm getting. And that's kind of the kicker. And that's why, you know, some of the videos I've made in the past, I mean, one of the shorts I put up a little while ago, and there's several videos I've made that I haven't put up, and that's why I think it's going to be fun for the next year, because, you know, I don't think I'm ready to jump in a relationship now that I've had my... See if you can follow all the tangents here. The judges made a video on, you know, divorce being bankruptcy court for emotions. And clearly, that's not going to be the case. As much as I wish it was, you know, it's not. And a lot of people are telling me, don't make these videos, you know, just, you're bankrupt, you're done. Just start over, go find somebody new and forget about your wife. Well, clearly that's not happening because I didn't even finish the events of this week because, you know, Tuesday was her birthday. And I left her a message, and we did start to communicate just a little bit on her birthday. Not verbally, but through email. And then and yesterday we talked a fair amount. So, yeah, it's not as nice as it would be to have emotional bankruptcy. I don't think either one of us want that. And, and as we go over this and go through the podcast and everything, the year long thing, if we want an emotional bankruptcy, or if that's the purpose of the law too, it should have happened last year. It should have happened last year. If it's going to do its job effectively, it has to do it in a timely fashion. And I'm tangenting all over the place, but July 2nd of last year was my only second. It took from December when my wife filed and I didn't do anything to intentionally slow it down, even though I didn't want it. I mean, I wanted it. I wanted it and I didn't want it because I don't want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with me. I don't want to be married to somebody that wants to divorce me. So if that's what she wants, that's what she's going to get. So I didn't do anything to stop it. I hired a lawyer the way I was supposed to. Turns out that's my biggest mistake. See how big of a downpour we're going to get while I'm up here. If there's thunder and lightning, which I don't think there is, I'm getting off of here, but I'm waterproof, by the way. My phone may or may not be, but I am waterproof. And if I get cold, I'll go in and take a hot shower under the hot water. More proof I'm waterproof. Anyways, yeah. My lawyer took control. He wanted the reins. I tried to say, why are you doing this? Help him. It's like if you go to a mechanic and you go to a mechanic that says, here's my car, it's broke, you fix it. I don't know. I mean, if you know something about cars, you'd prefer to know what your mechanic's doing, to know if they're working on the fuel system and they got no spark. That's kind of pointless and stupid, and you're wasting your money, and you got an incompetent mechanic. Well, I don't know nothing about divorce. At that time, I knew. Now I know a lot more, which is another very important part of making this content, is to help people the people that need to watch this the most are the ones that are married for 7 to 15 years that think they might want to get a divorce. You can see what it could possibly be like, especially if you're not broke. And then you can figure out what you got to do to keep the lawyers from stealing a significant portion of your and your wife's assets. Just the conversation I had with my wife last night. She doesn't get the concept of it should be about us. We don't need a third party or third organization taking our resources to help us get along or not get along or move on with our lives. They run a scam. There's a movie, Divorce Corp, that talks about it, and they financially, that's where I was on the tangent a few minutes ago that I lost and didn't finish. Was they run a scam, and they intentionally incentivize one party to fight the other. And when there's financial, I wonder if a little water thing dripped over the camera. So it looks like it's sharper to my poor vision. Anyways, yes, that's my poor brain. It's broken a lot because of the trauma and the burden of the inefficient, ineffective, and self-serving legal profession that I should have been divorced a year ago because I didn't want to stay married to somebody that didn't want to be married to me. But I wanted what I had back. I wanted her to feel committed and want to stay with me. But the law financially incentivized her to go. It's very, very unjust, very unfair, and what needs changed. It's just, yeah. I think that whole tangent started when I said wow, I'm actually able to tie my own tangents in, because where that whole tangent started was when I said when I wanted to become a YouTuber, and I'm just being incredibly honest while I'm doing this too. I said that I never planned on getting divorced, and I'm not. There's only been one point in my life where I was considering initiating it, and that doesn't help it. And I've questioned, my wife since, and she had no idea that I was feeling that way, and that's probably the way it should have been. But it was actually, I'll confess a little bit of the time frame when it actually happened. And so when I first thought of doing YouTube, see, if I take a minute, I can actually put some of this into place. When I first started, so I was being honest. When I first started doing the YouTube, I had never had a thought of not being married. Because the time I thought, possibly considered divorce, initiating it myself, was, if you look at, so I first started thinking of doing YouTube, and I started making some videos, and you can go back at the channel and look at the oldest, and then work from there, and then you can kind of follow a little bit about what I'm saying right now. Maybe I should do the same, because I don't remember the exact timeline of everything that we did. But ultimately, I remember I wanted to go on. I'd already planned, had the initial concept of doing YouTube. I wasn't monetized. I wanted to start the YouTube by doing a video blog of me going cross-country car camping in the Tesla and hiking a bunch every day. And I was going to take 4 to 6 weeks to do it. I can't remember exactly the thing. I put all kinds of planning in it in the fall. And, she hindsight crystal clear. She wanted to tell me, I don't want you to do that. I want you to stay home with me. But she didn't say that. She helped me plan it. And we had places. One dog was going with me. One dog was staying with her. And then that dog was going to be watched by my parents. And then Schnoodle. I can definitely call it dogs by name. Schnoodle wanted, Schnoodle was going to go with me, and it was going to cost more for us to put Schnoodle in, doggy care, while Heather flew out and we went on a cruise. I'm going to use the most important names, so be it. It's much easier that way. And Chloe was staying home with her and going to stay with my parents, so that was the whole plan. And then shortly before that was all going to kick off, that's right when, COVID played a very big role in my divorce story as well, or even as the grading of, the marriage falling apart. If COVID would have never happened, it's real likely that we would still be a happy married couple, or reasonably happy married couple. Actually, maybe even a very happy married couple. COVID started. Our two biggest problems are political differences. That as the country gets more and more ridiculously split, and I've kind of totally given up on all that, anyways, at the moment. And then COVID. Those are the two significant outside influences that made us. We had trouble getting along with those two things because we had significantly different opinions on those. But the rest of the stuff I think we could have worked out a little bit easier. And so we were also dealing with COVID at that time. And Omicron went crazy. There was a whole... This is where it's going to be fun to play this out week by week by week. And I'm going to have to go back 3 or 4 years ago on the weeks that those particular things happened. There's some of the ideas of where I want to go with this podcast, because I don't even remember exactly what year it was that this has taken place, that I'm talking about now. it's when so Omicron happened, and everybody, that's a major spike of all the cases, even though we were vaccinated. Even though we were vaccinated, everyone's still getting COVID. Maybe they were bullshitting us on the effectiveness of the vaccine. Is it because they didn't know and they were learning there? Or were they villainous? Depends on the exact person you're talking to. Some of them didn't know. Some of them might have been very, very corrupt. I don't know. That's another thing that's difficult about society too, is some people are corrupt and some people aren't. Some people are good sometimes and some people are bad sometimes. The same person can be corrupt and good at the same person, usually at different times. I don't know. Maybe even sometimes at the same time. I mean, that's even me. Sometimes I want to be divorced. Sometimes I don't. I want to be married to the person that wants to be married to me. That's what I know I want, and that's what the commitment is supposed to provide, and that's what I kind of tangent away from, and I'm staying away from it this time. I think you get my point there. I'm going to stay on. The only time in my life when I actually contemplated divorce was she basically sabotaged that whole trip that I had planned. I don't want to go. I'm not going. And we sat down and had a talk as I was trying to decide whether to go on my own or not, which I did. And, you know, I looked out into our future. I asked a couple questions about our future. And she said, I wanted our future to be, I'll be a little bit specific. She wants to be a snowbird and live in Maine and live in Florida, you know, on the appropriate seasons. And I'm like, well, I want to travel around the country and do a little van life stuff and a big camper, not a little tiny car like I want to do on my own. But if I'm going to be married and my spouse wants to be in a camper, and doesn't want to be in the car, if she wants to be in a car, all the better, you know. Oh, that'd be the best. But you're never going to get everything you want. I would love somebody that wanted to travel with me in my micro camper. But, you know, especially when you're already committed to somebody, and it's perfectly understandable, but that they might not want to do that. So, you know, if that's what we were going to do in our retirement, it was going to be in a big camper, not a little Tesla Model X micro camper. So, she said, no, I don't want to do that. And I was like, well, what if we do that for 1 year and then do the rest of our lives like you wanted? And she said, no. And she remembers that conversation a little bit differently, by the way. I don't know who's right. Unfortunately, way back then, I wasn't recording everything that I freaking did, so I can't check to see if I'm right or not. That's one thing that's been fun over the last year or two, and something I've learned. And it's evolved through several different things, and maybe this is a recommendation that other people going through some troubles in their lives might want to do, is consider just recording everything you do, and then wait a week. Remember what you think happened a week ago, and then go back and see exactly what you did a week ago. And I mean, that's one thing, like YouTubers or whatever, I mean, content creators, they experience this because they make videos all the time, and they can go back and watch their old videos, and then they can check, I remember this, and this. And then if you actually go back, you can go back and watch your video, and you're like, oh, yeah, that happened a little bit differently than I remember it. I mean, that's just typical human memories. Some people are better at it than others. You need to know where you're at on your memory thing. Fortunately, I got one of those brains that remember things in a self-deprecating type of way. And I remember that I did things all wrong and I did bad. And then I go, so one of the things that really helped me is going back and seeing that I didn't do as bad as I thought I did in my memory. And when I play back what really happened, generally I do better than what I remember. Not always. I mean, there's no absolutes in life either. And sometimes I think I did really good, and then I go back and look at it and I'm like, oops. Evident on what I could have a video, just this morning, when I was reviewing what I did a year ago, I left my wife a message on her birthday a year ago. she was my wife then, even though she'd been moved out for, 11 and a half months. Yeah, and that's the other interesting thing is this is what's fun, is you look back to what I've done the last 2 years on her birthday, and here's an instance of where my memory was wrong. She said we had a fight in the last, I don't know, 2 months or so. I mean, we've been on and off while we're getting divorced a little bit. I mean, it's always still off in her mind, and in my mind, it's like, well, every time I start talking to her, I kind of get interested in her again. But she's also got the financial incentive to see this thing through, and she won. She won a lot of what I worked for before I even met her, and so it is what it is. It's over now. We got emotional bankruptcy, right? Obviously not. Yeah. See, that's just. I can't remember where I was, and see, I mean, there is a lot to the story over the years. That's my point. I think I'm going to just stop now. Stop now. I'm getting pretty wet, and although I am waterproof, the phone's getting pretty wet too, and it's still working. I probably can't go in and charge it now because it's going to say moisture content. So, yeah, this is way more than I planned. I planned on doing stuff a little bit later in the day and actually editing, so I could probably put this up now. The problem is I probably should rewatch it first. And how long would it take to rewatch it? 46 minutes. It's a 46-minute video. And then that's to make it a good video, which I would like to eventually do sometime. I need good processing to do it. If you use the processor on your phone and something like CapCut or whatever, when you start dealing with a video this big, it becomes incredibly difficult. You need a bunch of little short ones, and I just got to put it all. I mean, somehow I got to learn to do it on a computer if I'm going to actually make a serious effort of being a content creator. And I think I still want to keep this more simple and fun and light and less work. And the live Q&As and a little bit of something I can put together beforehand each week is really what I want to do. I think that'd be the most fun way for me, and if it becomes helpful for others, that's what I'm hoping. And I'm hoping that there's other people going through making this difficult decision. And I really want the legal system to change. I want things to be like Catherine Woodward Thomas, conscious uncoupling. If you're having troubles in your marriage at all and you're thinking about maybe getting divorced, this is for who this is really for. Well, not really, because it can even be for people that are in my position that can share their stories and we can kind of heal together. It's for them too. It's for anybody that wants to do it. That's what it's for. Anyone that it strikes interest in. And my future's unwritten. I don't know where it's going to go. If you look at the comments of the videos, well, one video I still haven't made public, and oh, it's scary to make it public. I said some stuff about the judge. It might be too early to say. I kind of said earlier in this video too, you don't, but then if you didn't watch this video and that video is up, it's a little bit of a scary thing of what you, but it's my First Amendment right to say what I feel and what I think, and it's not, I mean, if I can get put in contempt of court for it, so be it, man, so be it. Lock me up, Judge. You already made your determination, which isn't as bad as it could have been. So maybe I was a little bit effective, but it was still really bad. And it's still not over. Still not over yet. There's no, I mean, even if there was emotional bankruptcy, which obviously there is not. Yeah. Go check out David Engler 2. Or no, that's not. I didn't just say that, did I? Oh, well. It's still, you go to Judging David 2 on TikTok. You know, it's just his public persona. He's putting it out there in public, so his name's on it too. So I'm not going to be worried about that. And the truth is, I had a very difficult hearing with him that should have never went that way. It's very unethical, in my opinion. I don't know if the Judiciary Committee or anybody like that would find it unethical, but I sure felt pretty hurt by it, significantly hurt by it. And he made some changes, some significant changes. And I don't know, I'm sure he come to those realizations all on his own, because in that hearing that the court will not provide the transcripts of, he said something like, "I've been doing this for all these years. I don't need somebody coming in front of me and telling me how this should be." He said that. He said something similar to that in that hearing. And sure enough, when I was in front of him 3-4 months later, he changed. Will he give me any credit for that? I doubt it. I sent an email to the bailiff, Caleb. He's the one with the hiccups and on the YouTube or the TikTok videos. I had a conversation with Caleb 5 days before I went into that hearing, which fortunately, picking up on this, I got that conversation. I don't know what I'm legally allowed to do with that conversation, but I know that I'm legally allowed to have it because I'm allowed to record in the state of Ohio. So, yeah, I have that conversation. And when the video gets around to March, that'll be something. I mean, that's something I can share. And I went into all a little rant because I was thinking kind of clearly that day when he just happened to call me out of the blue. And I had the recorder running because I left Heather a message and forgot to turn it off. And it's one of those times where it's like, oh boy, I hope I have it that day. I hope I have it on that day. And sure enough, I did. So it's not the most clearest thing in the world because I wasn't like trying to do it. It was just something that was in the background. But I spoke with Caleb, the guy with the hiccups, for 25 minutes and told him about conscious uncoupling and all my experiences. And he's like, well, you're lucky. You got Judge Engler. He's a good guy. And then 5 days later, I go in his courtroom and get the biggest shock of my life in the business of divorce. And my wife's attorney making up lies and I'm not going to say making up because everything's based on a true story, but based on a true story is often a lie when you actually know what the true story actually is. And that's a recording I definitely have because I intentionally recorded that one. And it's something that, yeah. Oh, I'm just... The memories of my court experiences, and I can't express them all in an instant. But it is what it is. I'm getting wetter and wetter by the moment, and hopefully I'm happy with this little video that I just made because I think it is kind of actually what I want to do. Hopefully this works. So yeah, TikTok video. TikTok is Judging David 2. It's in public. I like that he's trying to make a difference. I don't know if it's going to make as much of a difference as it can. I hope to make more of a difference. I want to make the laws better. I want, somehow there to be commitment back in marriage and not a financial incentive for the party that probably possibly wants to stay married too, but also kind of doesn't, because that's what marriage is a lot of times. You're ambivalent a lot of the times because you're just not always as happy as you are when you first get married. That's how life works. There's very few of us that get to be happier the next day than they were the previous day all through their life, and their love grows more and more every day throughout their entire life. Oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to be one of those people? How many of them do you think are on earth? If you're out there, please tell me your story. I'd love to hear it. I'm fairly certain that most people's stories will have several times where they contemplated divorce and didn't do it. The 50% that stay married, first marriages that stay married, I'm sure there's quite a few times that you were going to give up. And I don't know. I mean, it's a personal decision on when you give up. I thought about it for a little while. I guess I never finished that. And I'm still rattling on. When I thought about giving up, I left, and you're supposed to look back at Fan Life Video Blog 1 or whatever I did 3 years ago, 4 years ago. I can't remember the years now. I mean, even though it's not that far. The last one has been so traumatic. The last one should have never happened. If divorce is a thing and you need emotional bankruptcy, it should have happened last year so I could have started moving on with my life. Instead, I got drugged through the shit for a year. For another year. It only needs to be 8 months. Should have been divorced within 8 months. But July 2nd, Judge Sandy Harwood told my wife and I that there were plenty of financial resources in this case to warrant extra time. Watch the movie Divorce Corp and you tell me what that means. It could mean that it's complicated and it really needs a lot of extra time to be resolved. The truth is, none of this has to be complicated. In the end, look at what I say. Look, yeah, now you're going to get me going. I'm going to get myself going. Look at that video I made 2 days before my judge made my decree about, I made it super easy for the judge. I made it easier for my wife's attorney. Being my own attorney. It's where my wife misses the whole, ex-wife misses the whole freaking point. She's like, my lawyer charges me when you talk to him. Yeah, well, if it wasn't me talking to him, it would have been another attorney talking to him that makes money from me based on the hours he puts in, and they would not be as efficient as I am. They wouldn't make it as easy. He'd be like, oh, I need to do all this and this and that. And then he'd be like, no, you need to do all this and that. And they keep doing all this extra work that does not have to happen. It's crazy. It's crazy what these lawyers do. And that's one of the significant points that needs to happen. If there is no fault, we need somebody that cares about both parties at the same time, working together for each. We don't need, and that's another place where I want to go with this. And then it's definitely getting wet here, and I don't want to drag this out longer than I need to. But another thing that I've been thinking is, even friends, coworkers. This is why why divorce is so common in modern society. Is everybody wants to validate your feelings, and everybody wants to bitch about their spouse. We got to stop bitching about our spouses. We got to start promoting their good things in public and having our friends and family and everybody else realize that we married a great person. Let's not think about their bad qualities. Let's think about their good qualities. Let's talk about their bad qualities in private and be willing to have those discussions in private. Then relationships will work better. But no, everybody helps everybody validate themselves. And I got a thing that's running at the moment that I stumbled across 2-3 weeks ago playing with AI. And this is stuff that'll come out in the podcast over the year or whatever, if it happens and if I do it, because I used AI to validate some thoughts that I had that were really negative about my wife, that It still might be true. I don't know. But AI validated me. And then I went into mediation very validated. And then that's not a very good way to get your wife to mediate and be fair with you while you're overconfident on something that you're over-validated on, because that's what AI does. And that's a video that I wanted to make that I never made it either. And it's all stuff that can come out in the future of this podcast if it works and people find an interest and it keeps going. So, all right, this hasn't been the video I planned to make, and I think I like it. I hope I like it. If you like it, please let me know in the comments, and come to the Q&A tonight. I'm going to be at another high place, I think, or maybe here, or I don't know. Hopefully the signal works. It's definitely just an experiment. And, you know, we can talk about whatever anyone finds interesting from this video or any of my other videos, and what we can do to get the rules and the laws changed so we can do more conscious uncoupling instead of battles and stuff like that just don't need to happen. Generally, most people loved each other at one point in time, and you know, if you just drift apart, if you cheat on them, if you abuse them, if you do stuff like that, then by all means, those are fault-based divorces, and do them the old-fashioned way, better with lawyers. But if you really just drift apart and are no longer compatible, and you want to have multiple monogamous relationships because that's what's best for you, believe that's what's best for humans, and you think you can find somebody better, and the grass is greener and this and that, then lawyers shouldn't be allowed to be part of it. It's not what marriage is about. And that's where a lot of people's situations are going to be different, because there is abuse, there is cheating, there is this and that. And yeah, that's a whole different story. It's not the story I'm bringing to talk about tonight. Talking about a story of two people that are in an ambivalent relationship, trying to figure out what they should do. And then you bring lawyers into it and they make it worse. That's what it's all about. So I'm out for now. Please check me out tonight.